Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Pat Gray Unleashed, sponsored by ExpressVPN. Surf the web with peace of mind. Sign up right now at expressvpn.com/unleashed. And welcome. Great to have you with us. It is Thursday. All kinds of stuff to get to. Way too much. As Keith says multiple times every day, too much show.
Too much show.
Too much.
Yeah.
Can't get to it all. So it's a Sophie's choice of sorts. Yeah. And we'll do our best to make the right choices. But
you mean all animal videos for 2 hours?
Oh,
that's what you're doing?
Man. Well, we'll see. You keep watching for that. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. And see how many times you pass out during the course of the show.
Noted.
Also today, we're going to talk to John Ziegler. John is the person you might remember who looked into the Penn State, I guess, sexual predator stuff with what's his face?
Jerry Sandusky.
Yes, Jerry Sandusky. Also, Joe Paterno got caught up in that scandal. According to the investigating that Ziegler did, and it's compelling information, and you can read all about it. But not only was Joe Paterno not only did he not do anything wrong, but neither did Jerry Sandusky. Apparently, was not guilty of abusing men at Penn State. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe if you haven't heard the story before, but
young boys that were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, however, he's on to a situation with Matt Lauer, who I thought Matt Lauer was kind of railroaded from the very beginning. And that seems to be backed up by the research, and it's extensive, that John Ziegler has done. So we're going to talk to him about the Matt Lauer situation. Matt Lauer now accused of rape in Ronan Farrow's book. And, I mean, it was bad enough. It was sexual harassment at NBC. But what was even alleged then was just that it was consensual, but it was inappropriate. Then she claimed that it was rape after the fact. So that's a little more serious situation. And apparently Lauer has done an investigation of his own, which is interesting when you're investigating your own crimes. But
I mean, if you are innocent, then, and you're convinced that you did no wrong,
right?
Then I guess you have to become your own detective.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Because who believed him? It's been disproven, a lot of that stuff. Like he had this little button under his desk when he would push it and it would lock women in. Okay.
How did that start?
I don't know, but there was no rape button, it turns out. And it was all apparently consensual. And so Lauer has talked to her two former boyfriends about this, and they back up his story. I mean, it's pretty interesting stuff, so we'll get into that with him coming up. But also, where is Anthony Fauci? People are just so concerned about where Tony Fauci is right now.
A lockdown going on or something?
I guess.
Still?
The nation's top infectious disease expert has been conspicuously absent from national TV interviews over the last 2 weeks. I mean, he was on CNN about every 15 minutes for a while. Or MSNBC. I mean, the guy's all over the place. He loves to be on TV.
Well, let's see. He's taking the stance that it's not a big deal. He's taking the stance that it's a very big deal. So maybe he's out looking to see if there's a third angle he could find to
maybe
this
there's
issue.
a middle ground. It's kind of a big deal.
Kind of.
Prior to his recent absence, he was all over. Hundreds of appearances on TV. But he's been on modified quarantine after possible exposure to the virus, even though he's been present at White House meetings and briefings. And he was standing behind Trump the other day when Trump made some announcement. He didn't speak, but he was standing there. But why is he not? I wonder if he's been asked to maybe stop spreading crap around that the White House has to continually shovel out. I don't know, but the media is really upset with the fact that he's not prevalent right now. And they even developed a vaccine with the help of his agency. Apparently, it's not complete, obviously, but they've shown real promise with Operation Warp Speed, of which he is a part. And so he hasn't even been commenting on that. So what will we do without Anthony Fauci to lead and guide us? I guess there's just...
I called up Cardinal Tobin.
Cardinal Joe Tobin
in Newark.
That's it. That's all we've got now.
Wow.
So if you get a busy signal when you call Cardinal Joe Tobin of Newark, you got nowhere to go because Fauci's nowhere in sight right now.
Yeah, remember he was so ubiquitous. He was at the beginning of the NFL draft. It's like, leave me alone.
Oh, yeah.
Go away.
That's right.
And now you can't even...
Everywhere. He's like Chicken Man. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. So, to wear a mask or not to wear a mask, went to the grocery store again yesterday, and almost everybody is wearing a mask. And I don't understand the one-way aisles. What is the deal with the arrows that point one way? Why does that help? How does that help? I'm still going to pass people in the aisle if we're all walking the same way. Somebody's going to stop and I'm going to walk by them.
No, air is smart, and it only travels one direction, okay? And it knows where the aisles are.
Does it?
It just stays put. It's pretty, air's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. For the life of me, and I'm looking down the aisle and I'm thinking, okay, I got to go to this one, but I'm going the wrong way. So do I have to walk all the way around and then down the other side? No. I'm not going to do it.
No, I'm an American, and I'll go wherever the hell I want to.
I did contemplate it for a few seconds. No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing
Good
this.
for you. I wonder, and I long for the day when you're standing in line or you're visiting a store, because I was at a store yesterday where the arrows were on carpet, like on carpeted aisles, okay? Mm-hmm. And I long for that day when we see the residue of this time. Whether it be the little pictures that say 6 feet, please stand here, or the arrows down the aisle. I want to see the tape residue. All right. I want this era gone. But I wonder if we're going to see these things, who knows, forever?
I'm not going to do
I'm going to ignore them.
I'm not going to do the one-way store aisle thing.
Doing that at all.
Please. I can barely do that on the streets of the city. I'm not doing that at the grocery store
I can barely
aisles.
walk a straight line, much less in the direction you want me to go.
And at Costco, I guess they're enforcing their mask policy, apparently.
Yeah.
An unhappy Costco customer happened into the store and was turned away. He couldn't get a cart, I guess.
Watch this.
Here's what happened.
Wait, he offered to let his wife go through the line, right? Because he said, you've got a mask on. Here, let me give you my card. But Tyson of Costco was not having any of it. He's like, no.
No, people are calling him a rock star.
No groceries for you.
Online right now because he took that fabulous stand. It is the store policy, though. It's hard to get around that. You don't have to shop at Costco. So if you're really opposed to wearing a mask, just go to Sam's Club.
And they're really cool about it, too, at Costco where I go, because the day this policy started, or the day right before this policy started, I was in there, and I said, hey, if I don't want to wear a mask here, okay, and I said, are you going to reimburse me for what's left of my membership? Which I think is only a couple of months. So I think if it's prorated, it wouldn't be that much for me. Mm-hmm. She said, we'll give you your whole membership back.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I said, really? You're not going to just prorate and give me a couple? No, we'll take care of you. I'm like, wow. And that's the thing about Costco. Cool. They're very cool. Like, you can return something that you bought in 1989 that hasn't worked in 20 years. You bought a TV or something, and they'll take it back. They're so gracious with their policies. So I think they're trying to work with customers that aren't satisfied. Yeah. And like I said, it's their right to have this policy.
Yeah, it is.
It's my right not to go there.
It is. And, it's a little bit jerky to get all in his face over it when it's their company policy. Well, I also do understand the frustration because it is frustrating.
And I think that I'm sure that this interaction started long before, moments before the guy pulled out his phone to document it. Mm-hmm. But I think that this Costco guy could have easily worked with the lady go through the line. I don't know why he just had to march off, like he's on a I don't know. He's very dramatic. I'm going to take this cart and walk away. I mean, come on.
And the guy who filmed it said he woke up in a free country. How long ago did you wake up? It must have been several years ago.
Were you in Sweden?
You've been awake a long time.
No, he woke up in Sweden and caught the red eye so he could go do his Costco shopping for the week.
Because this is not a free country anymore.
No.
And hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
And we see the evidence of that every day, sadly. Every day.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. In Texas, they're about to implement a contact tracing program. I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah, here in Texas.
I don't think I've heard about that either. Really?
So I gotta do some more look on that. I just caught a quick little blip of something. And they just mentioned it. Matter of fact, in contact tracing will begin in time. I'm like, whoa,
wait,
rewind
what?
that.
Huh.
Anyway.
We'll have to look into that. And from Indiana Girl, we have this store sign. Western Ace Hardware will not require our employees or patrons to wear masks.
Oh.
Please refer to the Constitution of the United States. Now there's a copy of it right there.
Yeah, free. Take one right there
That's
on the old
great.
counter. That's
How great is that?
That's where I would be doing my hardware shopping.
Yeah,
If I were in Indiana, I guess that's where she lives.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Atlanta's Democrat mayor has now admitted that Georgia's reopening has gone better than she thought it would.
Oh, wait a minute. Did she criticize this?
How? Yes, she did. She was highly critical of Governor Brian Kemp's plan to allow Georgia businesses to reopen earlier than federal guidelines recommended. But she now concedes that the result of the reopening hasn't been as catastrophic as she anticipated. That's putting it mildly.
I can't believe she's admitting this.
I know, right?
You expect her just to lay low and not say anything.
So you know she's going to be drawn and quartered by her fellow Democrats for admitting it. In late April, Bottoms wrote a piece. It's Keisha Bottoms, the Atlanta mayor, wrote a piece for The Atlantic titled "Atlanta Isn't Ready to Reopen, and neither is Georgia," and she called Kemp's decision irresponsible.
Oh, nice.
Predicted that state hospitals could be seriously strained by new COVID-19 cases. None of that happened. Well, what I can say, so in an interview with Brian Williams, what I can say, Brian, is it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, thank you. So I'm pleased about that, but I still think it's too soon to say. The reason being, whereas initially we were seeing increases between deaths and people testing positive, rising anywhere from 25 to 30% over a 7-day period. Right now we're somewhere between 12 and 15%, and it's better than it was, but it's still not great. So that was her big admission. But still, I mean, even to admit that much, this says something about her, because usually, would Nancy Pelosi admit that of Donald Trump? Absolutely not. There is nothing Donald Trump could say that Nancy Pelosi would agree with or admit to. All right, let me take 60 seconds and tell you about Keeps. Kyle and Josh, two guys who were losing their hair. The dreaded male pattern baldness ran in both their families, but the way in which they dealt with it was completely different. Kyle kept putting off getting any kind of treatment, whereas Josh went to Keeps. Keeps offers the generic versions of the only two FDA-approved hair loss products. The generic versions save Josh a fortune, and all it took was an online consultation. He just went online, answered a few questions, snapped some pictures of his hair. Then a doctor evaluated all his information and recommended the right hair loss approval for the FDA-approved hair loss treatment for him. Then all of that was shipped discreetly to his door, and he's a happy camper now. Go to keeps.com/Pat. You'll get 50% off your first order. 50% off at keeps.com/Pat.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
It's amazing how split we are as a country, though. You got so many people thinking, okay, I don't need to wear a mask. All right, the mask doesn't even help. And you get the conflicting opinions from the experts, too. Wearing a mask does help. Wearing a mask doesn't help. Wearing a mask is incredibly beneficial. Wearing a mask could make you sick with some other disease. And so you've got all these businesses. Do wear a mask in our place. Don't wear a mask in our place. Now we've got this sent to us from John Eugene 88. You are outside. For God's sake, breathe some damn fresh air, not your CO2. The trees won't give you corona, I promise.
See, it looks like this was like
somebody put that over a
roadblock sign or something.
Yeah. Be safe, cover your face sign. Instead, you're outside. Just breathe the air.
Just when we thought there was no other way, no new ways that we could be separated or divide ourselves. Ta-da! We came up with a new one.
Yeah, mask or no mask. Quarantine or no quarantine. It's just as it's just as vicious as every other battle we're having with the left right now. And it does divide down right and left lines pretty much. If you are conservative, you think, okay, let's get out and get going and get the economy rolling again. And if you're a leftist, nope, you want to stay home and you want to hide in your house, curl up in a ball, and stay away from every single person because you're scared out of your mind. I don't know. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, but I forgot who sent this to me. We do have some interesting facts about COVID-19 that are now coming out. The virus can travel 6 feet, but it cannot travel 6 foot 1 inches or greater. It can live on all surfaces except anything that comes in the mail from Amazon. It does not live in Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, or any grocery store. COVID-19 is only deadly in bars, restaurants, small businesses, hair salons, and especially churches.
Yeah,
and
gyms.
And it cannot live on your food as long as you get it to go. So those are some scientists,
So it is in my food if I stay at the restaurant.
Correct.
Though. Okay.
You get it to go.
And it goes away. It dies.
Exactly.
It comes in contact with the fresh air outside and it dies, sort of? Or?
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So fresh air is good for your food, but it's not good for you. Mm-hmm. So you need to be wearing a mask when you walk outside with that food.
Right.
Are we getting this? Because, scientists are studying COVID-19 around the clock, and this is what they're determining. It's very.
In other words, they have no idea. Like so many other issues involving science, they don't know.
But why is
they don't know.
That if I'm a big store, then I'm essential. If I'm a mom and pop shop, we're going to ticket you. This is happening in community after community. We can't even keep up with it. Make your head spin. Of businesses that are trying to open up, and cops are showing up and giving them citations. But if the guy worked at Walmart, well, then we're good. I can't. It's just madness, man.
Speaking of cops showing up, giving citations, somebody sent us this video, and we're not sure from where it comes. But police show up at a home of this elderly couple and start harassing them. And what you notice when you watch this for a while, because it's being presented as if this recently happened and it happened in America. I don't know that either are the case.
No, I don't think so.
Actually, I don't think this is about COVID-19 because they don't say anything about it.
Yeah, there's no mention of COVID-19. There's no masks, but it's a couple. What's shocking is, and I think it is definitely Canada because they're talking about the Ministry of Health. I think that what's shocking is a man is being handcuffed in his living room.
Watch this. This is chilling. Really
That's no
chilling.
problem. You can record.
I don't need you.
Do you want to set it up? Am I okay to talk?
Look at that dog.
Okay. So as a result of speaking to my partner yesterday, there's concerns. I prefer to stand if you're okay with that, please and thank you. After speaking to my partner yesterday, there's some concerns for your safety, right? We understand.
Why don't you let me worry about my safety?
Your standpoint, right? The reason why you're doing what you're doing is to take a stand against the city, correct?
Not the city.
Government.
The government. Okay, yes, the government.
You come in here like this. Mm-hmm. Are we so dangerous to you? Look at us.
I hope not. I hope everything goes smoothly.
Why did you come at 8 o'clock? It's our time to go to sleep, actually.
My apologies. My apologies for coming at a time that's not convenient for you.
But why did you come?
I was going to let you know. You have some questions for me. And now the reason why I'm telling you why
But
we're
he
here,
said
my
that.
colleagues
Pause it
came
for a
up
second.
yesterday.
But he said that in a really condescending way, so it was sweetly delivered. My apologies. My apologies for not coming at a time more
this
convenient
entire
for
video,
you.
this guy is a passive-aggressive jerk.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's like the third instance so far.
Absolutely. But what I think this is a mental health visit.
We think.
I think somebody is concerned about their mental health, and they're apparently being they're going to be taken into a hospital against their will.
Correct.
And checked by doctors. All right, let's see this.
Why did you come at 8 o'clock? It's our time to go to sleep, actually.
My apologies.
Amen.
My apologies for coming at a time that's not convenient for you.
But why did you come?
Shut up.
I was going to let you know. You had some questions for me. And now the reason why I'm telling you why we were here, my colleagues came out yesterday. They submitted a report based on your interactions. We have some concerns for your well-being and your safety. Okay?
Thank you. It's
So-
very nice of you.
It's so nice of you. It's so hypocritical, actually.
What I'm here to let you know is that based on the concerns that were put forward yesterday with your report, we have contacted a judge, and the
Okay.
judge has issued what's called a Form 2. What that is
Form
to do,
2.
and it directs me, as being a police officer, that I'm to take both of you to St. Joseph's Hospital right now for an examination.
Oh,
No way.
No way.
well, thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't have that. We don't have that
No, no,
discretion.
right.
We don't have that discretion.
right.
Sorry.
Why would you do that?
That's not an
No, right.
option.
That's what this is for. I can
Form
let you know
2.
what I'm trying to say.
I got Form 2
It's a
up
form
here,
from
yep.
the Ministry of Health.
Pause it for a second.
Yeah.
That's been
Okay,
backed
so
by
Form
information.
Form 2 is a Canadian thing?
Yeah, it's an order for examination of the Mental Health Act in Canada.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Bingo.
So, still, it's pretty chilling.
Yeah.
They don't seem crazy, but I don't know what their anti-government stance is, and I don't know what they've said in the past. You know, we're coming in on a conversation and joining it already in progress.
Yeah, all I know is somebody better throw that ball for that dog because he's really agitated. No one's paying attention to him. He's wandering around the living room. Somebody throw the ball.
Still pretty chilling that cops can come into your living room, into your home,
Yep.
and order you to the hospital. They're demanding that you get up and go with them this minute to the hospital. No.
I'm going to choose no.
And I'm sorry, no is not an option. Unfortunately, sir, we don't have that. We don't have that option available to us now. So your options are: I either drag you out kicking and screaming and cuffed, or you come with me willingly. Wow, that's pretty amazing. But again, that's being presented as if it's in the U.S. and it's a COVID-19 situation, and neither is the case. So it's Canadian and it's mental health. So I'm glad at least that wasn't a U.S. situation. That
Yeah.
would, whew.
Yeah, in the U.S., we're just looking at states that are free, like Texas.
And we're going to hire around 5,000 workers to be contact tracers to help track COVID-19 pandemic
does not
patients.
end well.
Department of State Health Services said they'd need a team of around 4,000 to 5,000 workers, including contact tracers, to contact those who've tested positive. Other jobs include case managers and epidemiologists.
Okay.
At present, those interested in becoming a contact tracer are required to take a free online Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health course.
Ooh. Free. I might take this for fun.
You don't have to have a medical background, so that's great.
No, that's good.
They're looking for people who have at least have a high school diploma as well as communication and computer skills.
I was a public school in Georgia count.
Okay?
Is that good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hourly pay ranges from $14 to $19 an hour. And benefits will depend on the employer, but could be the State Department, a local agency, or a hospital. Officials are working to finalize the details to be able to fill the job positions.
All right. So
So-
Texas getting on board the contact tracing
A
train.
whole bunch of people being hired right now to
Oh, boy.
track Texans around the state.
Oh, I don't know where this goes,
Isn't
but
that great?
not to a good place.
That's great.
You keep using that word.
It doesn't mean what I think it means. Pretty sure of that. Horn of Plenty tweeted this out. Breaking. Protesters leave their homes to protest protesters who left their homes.
Look at that. It's so good. And what's the sign say the lady's holding there? How many lives is your haircut worth? Oh, shut up.
400.
Yeah.
It's worth 400 lives.
Well,
All right?
your haircut is worth 400 lives. Have you seen my hair? I mean, mine's probably worth, I don't know, 50.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, there's not a lot going on up there.
How many lives is your haircut? As if the people are just going to die because I'm getting this haircut. It's just asinine.
Oh, is it a good time to play Ben Roethlisberger getting his haircut?
Yeah.
The haircut, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback video.
I'm not gonna shave.
All right, so he gets injured last year.
Until I can throw a football.
He's not going to shave or cut his hair
Like
until he can
throw
throw a
it.
football again.
Like to a toddler or throw it?
Nope, like throw it to one of my teammates, like a legit NFL pass.
All right, so here we go. Look at this beard, man. He's got a lot going on there.
Oof.
I mean, that is a
Wow.
Duck Dynasty beard right there.
Yeah.
So he's out there throwing, and it's time for his haircut and his beard. So he goes.
And he got it trimmed. And
Yeah.
Got a haircut.
Yeah, but the governor of Pennsylvania, Ben Roethlisberger's home state, not too happy with that. He was actually asked about it at a press conference. What do you think about Ben Roethlisberger getting his haircut? Tom Wolfe.
I don't care who you are.
Oh,
The chances of that virus actually wreaking havoc on your life increases. I don't personally think that any Pennsylvanian ought to take that chance. I certainly don't want to take that chance myself.
So he doesn't care who you are, even if you're Ben Roethlisberger, and who definitely that was an essential worker. Whoever took care of him, because he was looking
He looked pretty nasty. Pretty nasty.
mountain man.
Yeah. Definitely looks better without the scraggly, skanky beard, for sure. So there's another opinion that essentially you're killing people if
How many
you're getting
lives?
a haircut right now.
How many lives do you think to trim that beard and that haircut are worth? What do you think?
1,000.
1,000?
Probably 1,000 lives. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, if it gets him in the playoffs, I guess it was worth it, right?
If it saves just one life, if one life. How come nobody said that about Hong Kong flu? How come nobody says that about the influenza that goes around every single year? If you don't get a flu shot, you might be killing people. Have you thought of that?
Let's see. Hong Kong flu, 1968. Let's see. A Democrat was in the White House. What were the other ones we had? We had one during Obama. You know, it just depends. See, that's what it's got to come into phase. It's got to be some sort of virus when a Republican is president.
Right.
That's when it matters.
So that we can blame the Republican for all the loss of life.
And so we can shut down the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Man, I mean, they're doing a good job, though. They really are doing a good job at trying to get the American people to a point where they can say, okay, we did all this, and capitalism didn't work. So we need to reset this situation. We need to reset our economy and our lifestyle because it clearly didn't work. Look how many people lost their lives. And they're doing a pretty good job of sort of positioning it that way.
And it's a no-win situation because it's not only that, but it's also vaccine time. Yep, that's how we're going to get out of this. If you can take that vaccine.
Right. And they don't even have one. But it sounds like they're going to pretty soon. And then when they do, will it be mandatory? My thought is yes. Yes, it probably will.
I tell you, man, this is
And I think Trump might go along with a mandatory
collision
vaccine.
course for trouble.
Yeah, we'll see. But I would not be surprised to see the government back a mandatory vaccine because it's for our own good.
What do you trust the government with? I mean, seriously, you're going to trust the government with a vaccine going into your body that's been rushed through for a crisis that is only about half as serious as it's being made out to be, if you ask me? I'm not doing it, man. I don't care if it's mandatory. I don't care. It's not happening. So you will be here hosting a show one day, and there will be video of me being handcuffed because I refused to get a vaccine for the whatever it's called, the COVID-19 vaccine. Not happening.
And you won't be allowed to leave your house. You'll be under house arrest, or we'll just put you in prison, for your own safety.
Will I have
For your own safety, Keith.
Will I have frozen pizzas
No,
stacked up to the
you'll
seat?
definitely not have frozen pizza in prison.
Oh, I could
No.
be swayed now because
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Ready for the vaccine?
Pat Gray.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. Got some tweets here at Pat Unleashed. Libertarian Ninja. If a company tries to make you wear a mask, inform them that wearing a mask while carrying a firearm is a felony. It's a good idea. Shall not be infringed, tweets. Torn by the Costco thing. I wear a mask only when I go to the store because New York is stupid. Stores require them. Since I have to go, I have to wear it. It sucks, but the shopper is in the wrong, but the employee was a douche. Yep.
I think we found common ground.
Mm-hmm. Rebel Libertarian. There was a fatal car accident here in our area caused by someone who passed out wearing a mask while driving.
I don't know where Rebel Libertarian lives, but I found a story in New Jersey that says just that.
Jeez. Linnell Schultz. I haven't worn a mask yet. I was wondering why everybody at the store was staring at me. I just thought they were admiring my lovely, friendly smile. Oops.
It could have been that.
Yeah, maybe both. Maybe a little bit of both. Carl Smith. My wife is taking a stand that she will not shop at Costco with a mask. She just sent me with a list because apparently you'll wear a mask. NASA Dwarf Knot. Funny, I thought we were all responsible for our own well-being, not the nanny state. Oh, well, you got that way wrong.
Oh, when did you type that tweet?
Wow.
Did you type that up decades ago and just now hit send?
Born yesterday?
No, it's the government's job to take care of us, man.
From Terry Westaway, watching on my phone from Iowa.
Oh, hey, Iowa. How's it going?
Let's see. And Zoc, a free country, doesn't have 25 trillion plus worth of debt. Yeah, it's going to be a lot more than that at the end of this year. I mean, they're still pumping trillions of dollars into the economy. It's frightening is what it is, because it's a debt we can never repay. And so what's going to happen with that? There's only a couple of ways out of it. One of them is massive eye bleed inflation. And the other is probably war. So I don't know. It's not a good scenario either way.
It's a happy Thursday. Mm-hmm. It's a good day.
Yeah, we're having fun so far.
Oh,
right?
By the way, I forgot what it was. I think it was Kara 3022 mentioned that we forgot yesterday was Jimmy Stewart's birthday. I think he would have been like 112, 109
Really?
or
wow.
I don't know. Yeah, so he.
How did you miss that? Isn't that your responsibility?
What do you mean?
To remind us of important dates like that? What are you working for Potter now, Keith?
Yeah.
You see,
working for Potter.
You're screwy. That's what you are. For forgetting Jimmy Stewart's birthday.
Yeah, I apologize, Jimmy.
Stupid. So, I mean, I don't know.
He lived a long time too, man.
He
upper
was
90s or something.
I think he was in his 90s.
Yeah,
when he died.
He was way up there. Let's see, find out here because now I got to know. You know, it's one of those things.
Even though we missed it, it was yesterday.
Now we're making up for it.
Better late than never, I guess.
I don't know, 91 looks like.
91, okay.
Or 89 or.
And he died in what year?
97.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
1997.
So he was 89, I think.
Okay.
Don't make me do more math.
888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. By the way, if you're going to Hawaii on vacation, just know that when you get there, you're going to have to stay in your hotel room for 2 weeks. And they don't let you leave. And if you do leave, they arrest you. So they have just plain asked people, don't come. I mean,
wow.
It's kind of amazing because here is an island where, I don't know, 90% of their economy is tourism, and they're just really not treating people very well right now. This could really backfire, I would think. I mean, if you piss people off to the point where they decide to vacation elsewhere permanently and not go to Hawaii anymore, here's another unintended consequence of this virus situation. Because if you're making people feel unwelcome on that island right now, that could spill over until afterwards. Just so you're aware of that. But they're really kind of. There was that guy who took a photo of himself on the beach.
Yeah.
And was promptly arrested, tracked down through his Instagram account, I think it was.
Yeah.
And arrested and put in jail.
I mean, there was a spell where Texas had a 14-day quarantine from people visiting from Louisiana.
Well, yeah.
Back when it was really intense over there.
Mm-hmm.
That was lifted shortly thereafter. But I don't know. Like I said, with this story here, I think you always quarantine people visiting from New York, just as a general rule, even when there's no global pandemic going on.
I think they're quarantining every person
right.
who comes into the state. Also, an NFL player has anonymously filed a lawsuit against United Airlines over an alleged sexual assault that took place on one of their flights in February. In the lawsuit, which was obtained by Bleacher, the anonymous player is seeking damages for sexual assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and negligent hiring, training, supervision, and retention by United. That's a lot. Player used the alias of John Doe 1 to file the lawsuit. Apparently, he was sitting next to another man, John Doe 2, who is also part of the lawsuit. They're both suing United. The alleged sexual assault took place on a red-eye flight between Newark and Los Angeles on February 10th. In the lawsuit, the unidentified player claims that an intoxicated woman grabbed his unit and ripped off a mask that he was wearing over his mouth and nose.
Wow.
The player had been wearing the mask for protective measures during the early stages. I mean, February 10th? Yeah, that's really early. The conversation between the woman and the NFL player who was in the middle seat. So an NFL football player is in the middle seat of coach traveling on United?
On a red-eye flight.
On a red-eye flight?
Wow.
Wow.
So we've determined it's a punter. So it's one of 32 guys. Yeah. We've got it narrowed down.
I mean, even the punter makes $585.
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, that's as close as I can get to making this story make sense.
So he's in the middle seat, and she apparently started asking why he's wearing a mask over his face. And he said he complained to the flight attendants multiple times, but they didn't do anything until the fourth time he complained, at which point they finally decided to move the drunk woman to an empty row.
Wow.
This matter is unfortunately, here's what the NFL player, despite sitting in coach in a middle seat, so he didn't have the money for first class, but he has hired not one but two attorneys to handle this thing for him. So anyway, the attorneys say this matter is unfortunately based on several instances of assault, physical, sexual, and verbal, on a red-eye United Airlines flight. Instances could have been prevented if not the harm reduced, had United's personnel simply taken sooner action. Our goal is to shine light on how assaults can and are being made on men, not just women. This is significant because assault is assault, regardless of gender, race, and physical attributes of the victim.
So it was a punter.
Apparently, because they're talking about his physical attributes, this is probably a gigantic guy who you would assume then could stop a woman from grabbing him if he didn't want her to grab him.
Okay.
I mean, would you? It seems
I didn't pick
right?
up on that, but I think I'm kind of married to the idea that it's a punter still, so I guess I can't go there with you. But
even the punter should have been able to stop the woman from grabbing him if he didn't want her to grab him. You would think,
maybe,
wouldn't you? So I think I still have that bias. I still think that, especially an NFL football player, could probably protect himself from this onslaught of this horrible.
And on a red eye, do you think maybe there were other places on the plane you could just move to?
I would think so, because they eventually moved her. So I would have just gotten up. If I was so offended that I'm now suing United for who knows how much money, I think I would have gotten up and left.
So they need the
and
money.
Moved to another seat.
So they need the money in addition to the red eye coach and what was the other circumstantial evidence there that it's a punter? But see, I'm telling you, man, this is going to come out. And just you wait. It's going to be a punter.
Punter.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I hope we find out soon who this is, because I mean, this is embarrassing.
Oh, really?
I think it's embarrassing.
Why is he? Okay.
That's why he's anonymous, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have said, we'd know who the NFL player is.
Okay.
He's obviously embarrassed.
So, thesmokinggun.com, you have your marching orders. Go.
All right. Did you know that dry dog food has a 2 to 3 year shelf life? It has to. So dry dog food manufacturers sterilize the food when they make it. That's the only way it will last that long. So everything that's alive and really healthy for your dog in the food is killed, essentially. It's dead food. That's why it's so great to have Rough Greens VitaSmart. It's not dog food. It's a healthy supplement that puts into your dog's food all the live nutrients that are necessary for your dog to be really happy and healthy and active again. And they love the taste. You take 1 scoop, mix it in with your dog's food, and they'll love the taste of it. They'll eat it up, and your dog is going to be a lot happier. Take the Rough Greens 14-day Jumpstart Challenge today. It's just $14.95, and you'll see the difference in your dog in 14 days or less. If you want to see your dog thrive again, just go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That's RUFF greens.com/blaze.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. This is kind of interesting. We have a resurfaced clip of MSNBC's Morning Cup of Postum with Joe. He was on with the late Don Imus. And this comes up again because Scarborough and President Trump are going back and forth on this old situation where an intern in Joe Scarborough's congressional office died back in 1997. She was 28 years old, and she supposedly had some sort of heart aneurysm or arrhythmia, I guess. And she passed out and hit her head and was dead. I mean, it killed her.
And she was healthy before. It's not like she had anything beforehand.
Right. So,
just want to throw that in there.
because she was 28 years old, it's a little bit suspicious. And so President Trump keeps alluding to it and saying that there should be some sort of investigation into whether or not Scarborough killed her. And Morning Cup of Postum Joe takes some offense to that. But here he is with Don Imus joking about the situation back in the day.
Well, tell me what I need to do.
Well, no, you're doing great. I mean, don't be afraid to be funny.
Okay.
Because you are funny. That was I asked you why you weren't in Congress. You said you'd had sex with the intern, then you had to kill her.
Exactly.
I mean, that's pretty risky to say.
What are you going to do?
So it could be, you can be very good.
Wow.
What are you going to do?
Wow.
I mean, I don't know what Joe's supposed to say to that. No, I didn't. What is he going to say?
I don't know.
But still, he's just laughing along,
Yeah.
That was a joke, Don. That was a joke. I mean,
but he says that's what Scarborough said to him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the only defense that Scarborough could have there is, no, I was kidding around. It was a joke when I said that. You know that, Don.
And you don't joke about
that's true too.
One of your interns dying
that's true.
in your
I'm not
office.
I'm not even thinking of this past tense. It's already happened.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm totally missing the boat there. Yeah, absolutely. Man, that's
that's despicable.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty...
You'd have to consider her family, her friends. I mean, wow,
now I want to know...
That's pretty amazing.
Now I want to know the setting
of
when Joe originally said that to Don.
Yeah, I would love to.
I mean, was Joe a few deep? Was he speaking truth? Oh, no. Of course, we can't... I can't ask, Don Imus... I wonder who else was there when he said that. Because was that an on-air conversation? Is there another tape?
I don't know, but if there is, it would be great to find it.
I mean, I would get on that assignment from you. However,
I wonder if the President of the United States has resources enough to find something like that.
No.
No. I wonder. Interesting little dynamic between Imus and Scarborough, too, because later on, Scarborough and Imus were not. I don't think we're good friends like that to be joking around with each other. Imus hammered Scarborough in the later years, like in when Scarborough went off the air and was doing the meeting to try to figure out how to do a third hour of the show, and it stretched on and on and on.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? I was a program director when they were messing around with that show, and the calls I would get from the rep trying to get that show put on our radio station.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah?
No, come on. They're right down the middle. They'll give both sides of the argument to your audience that wants both sides. No, I don't.
Right, nobody wants both sides.
Well, and that's not the arbiter
Right
of
down the
determining. That is not a down the middle show. But continue your pitch. Thank you. Anyway, I'm sorry. You were saying, yeah, it was fun.
Anyway, while Scarborough was saying he's coming back, Imus was on the air saying that guy's never coming back to this station. He's awful, and he's not coming back. He's a joke, and he's not ever going to be. And of course, he was right. He never came back. But wow, that's fascinating that Scarborough ever said he left Congress because he was having sex with his intern and he had to kill her. Woo wee.
Again, I gotta know the setting.
I know. I know.
All right, somebody start checking those transcripts. I would, but unfortunately, I'm too busy trying to remember Jimmy Stewart's birthday, and I fail at that too. So don't trust me.
Well, you got
this.
a whole nother year now to prepare for the next one. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We got to play the Volkswagen ad too that they've had to apologize for being racist. Really strange details on that. There's a Volkswagen ad where this black person is standing outside of a cafe where the Volkswagen is parked next to the cafe. And this giant hand comes in and flicks the black person into the cafe. And then it says something like, the new Golf. And then that's it. But the cafe pictured is called the Petit Cologne, which means little colonist in French. So they're making this whole racist thing out of it. Kind of interesting.
Oh, no.
And sure enough, Volkswagen has apologized for that racial ad. Great to have you with us. Thanks for being here. 888-900-3393 and at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Michael's daddy tweets, will the contact tracer job pay better than unemployment? $800 a week is tough to beat. From B to Bodine, since I usually just get a buzz cut, my haircut's only worth about 25 people's lives.
Yeah. Okay. I overestimated. I said it was like worth 50 bucks.
Yeah.
Or 50 people.
Too many.
Okay.
Equus limits 10. Do any of your states still have curfew? New Jersey does, even though Murphy says it's not a curfew. Okay, then what the hell is it?
Is it a suggested time to turn in? I mean, what is he calling it?
I don't know.
New Jersey, man. This is what we're living through right now is exactly why I'm glad I'm no longer a resident of that state.
Oh, no kidding. Jeez.
By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order?
I called up Cardinal Tobin, Cardinal Joe Tobin in Newark.
So maybe that's how Murphy figured out what time people need to go home.
I see.
So it's not a curfew. It's just a suggestion from
it's Tobin
Cardinal
time.
Joe Tobin.
Yeah, Tobin time.
From JC, flattening the curve turned into communism real quick.
It did. Oh.
No doubt about that. All right. Some of these politicians across the country and
they're having a good time.
Oh man. It's fun to see. Angelica emailed us this, tweeted this to us.
Is it the Mississippi governor reading out the name of high school graduates? Right
No, this is the mayor of St. Petersburg.
Oh, this is a fun one, yeah.
Giving a COVID-19 update and is photobombed by a parrot.
Where's he giving
There's in place related to social distancing, however, so make sure that when you're in a restaurant or you're in a retail shop, keep your social distance going. And we try to make it a little easier for our restaurants in St. Pete to do business by allowing for an expansion.
Like, where is this press conference being given? A zoo? Honestly, I have no idea. Oh, the Rainforest Cafe, Martin chimes in. Oh, okay. Well, that's a fun... That parrot's awesome. He's just back in the background. I don't know. What would you say? He's just... I don't know. He's bopping his head side to side. If you're listening to the podcast, it's very funny.
Let's see. Also, Keith just referenced the Mississippi governor that was reading the high school graduate names. I guess because a lot of the schools aren't having ceremonies
Man, I feel so
in the
bad.
gym, and so you're being robbed of that. the governor did something kind of cool and was reading out the high school graduation names. And here were some of those graduates.
Okay.
Cini, Gavin Christopher Davis, Grayson Doss, Harry Ashcraft.
Wait, what? Who graduated?
Harry Ascracken.
Harry Ascrack. Uh-huh. Well, I mean...
So who put that in there? Who put that in there?
Someone awesome.
That is really amazing. And it got by... does anybody pre-read this for the governor? Does the governor pre-read it and go through those names just so he can pronounce them? Let's see. Harry Ascrack.
Yeah. That's one that Bart missed when he called Moe's Tavern.
Seymour Butts.
Amanda Hugginkiss. All right. Well, that's good. Well,
that's funny. I'd love to know who did that.
Right. And
I hope there's an
congratulations.
investigation into that.
Harry Ascrack. I hope you have a happy life post-graduation. Congrats on the diploma, by the way.
All right. 888-900-3393. Also, we got John Hickenlooper, who was a presidential candidate.
Was he for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And then he told us about going to the movies with his mom.
Yeah, the XXX rated movies with his mom. That's great. I mean, who among us hasn't taken their mom to Debbie Does Dallas?
Well, it's interesting you would ask that question on a day that Jeffy's not here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was Deep Throat, by the way, yeah.
So Hickenlooper was out recording himself playing a little bit of basketball.
Oh, wow. This is natural, huh? One of those kind of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to block Mitch McConnell from the chokehold he has on the U.S. Senate by beating Cory Gardner. But I need your help. $5, $10. We're coming up to the end of the month. We need your help.
Yeah, we got it.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. He's out. First of all, his poor son, I assume, is in the role of, okay, Dad gets to block my shot for the commercial. Then play that again. Dude is out of breath, can't even remember the simple line. Just
And I'm going to block Mitch McConnell from the chokehold he has on the U.S. Senate.
That is so natural.
From the chokehold.
From the thing that he's doing in the Senate right now. It's embarrassing.
Wow.
It's embarrassing.
And that was... I hope that wasn't the first take. I really hope he's been playing all day to not be able to have his breath to read that one line. And the chokehold. So bad, man.
What a weird time it is. What a weird time in America and this planet it is. Every day, it's just, I mean, society continues to go downhill every single day. And we're just watching the very rapid destruction of civilization.
It's fun, right?
Oh, man, is it ever.
Making the apocalypse fun again. That's what we do here at Pat Gray Unleashed. A t-shirt you can own at shop.blazemedia.com/Pat. It's also that vegetarian shirt is available there. You know, you eat some things, but not meat. Like, what's the whole thing again?
What's the whole thing again?
Yeah, because I might
I'm
need to know.
Mostly vegetarian.
Thank you.
I mean, I do,
No,
other than a little bit of chicken.
Nah, I've got what I need.
And fish. Maybe some lamb.
Okay, yeah.
Some pork, like ham, bacon, sausage.
Anything else?
Beef.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
beef.
Okay.
Certainly steaks.
Very good.
Burgers. Roast.
Did you say bacon yet?
Yeah, I said
you said
bacon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it again. I mean, it's not going to hurt.
Bacon
anything.
was part of the pork, the ham, bacon, sausage thing.
Okay, very good, very good. By the way, we
Some
have
venison.
venison. Yeah. Was it Haley Graham that was asking on Twitter? We need a Cardinal Joe Tobin shirt. I believe that's who was making that request. We have heard that request, and we've told merchandise. So we'll see if they come up with a Cardinal Joe Tobin Pat Gray Unleashed T-shirt.
All right.
Very good.
Meantime, Joe Biden accidentally mocked himself with his tweet attacking Trump. He mistakenly mocked himself yesterday when he let out the following tweet to attack Trump. We need a president who believes in science.
All right.
Joe Biden, May 19th, 2020. Science tells us that an unborn child is a human being.
Oh, that's Scott Walker replying.
From Scott Walker, Wisconsin governor.
All right. Well, there you go, Joe.
That's great.
There's a lot of replies to Joe.
That is great.
On that. What else we got?
How many genders are there, Joe? Gabriel Hughes.
Nice job.
Isn't that great?
Great.
How many? These are all fantastic. From Melissa, science isn't a belief. Leftists just say these platitudes and act like it makes them smart. Biden is a dummy, and now he has dementia, too. How's that for some science? Just a tad mean-spirited, but fun nonetheless.
That's worth a follow right there.
We need a president who knows what day it is.
This guy, Claude's Barbecue. That's good.
That's really good.
All right, Joe. Back to your cave.
He should not have tweeted that out. I mean, that's just stupid. But, none of these Democrats have a leg to stand on when it comes to logic anyway. So, Also, we've got this guy who tries to take his truck from a repo man. Here we are in this very difficult time in our new reality. Just understanding that we're all in it together. And then along comes some repo man and tries to tow this guy's truck away. And
he's ruined that truck now. How much damage did he just do to the axle and
Wow.
Anyhow, it doesn't look like he got his truck
I would
back.
like to have seen whether or not that truck drove off after that, because he got off the...
No, he was still attached.
Was he?
Yeah, the thing just kept sliding, so it looked like he was breaking free.
Oh, okay. It did look like he broke free there for a second.
Yeah, I'm going to see how that thing ended.
Wow.
See if I can figure it out and report back.
See if he's got a working, operating truck anymore. Yeah. 888-900-3393 and at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Do we have that Volkswagen ad ready that we talked about before the top of the hour? German car maker Volkswagen pulled one of their commercials because they got some pretty serious backlash from viewers who decided this was racist for some reason. Okay, a white hand grabbing a black person and then flicking him inside a cafe for I don't even know what I think they're trying to get him away from the Volkswagen or something. He's too close to the Volkswagen.
Okay.
So this giant white hand comes in, grabs him by the head, puts him in front of the door, and then flicks him in the door. And then, if that wasn't enough,
right?
As if that's not enough, the name of the cafe is Little Colonist in French, Petit Colon, which means little colonist.
Well then.
Also,
oh no, there's
Reuters
more?
reports German TV noted that the hand could be interpreted as making a white power gesture.
Okay, all right. No.
Come
no,
on.
it couldn't.
Let's see that.
No, it couldn't. This isn't a white power. Go ahead.
Show that again. Let's see if we can find the white power gesture. Okay, not so far, I don't think.
Oh, I think it's the flick probably at the end. See?
Yeah, the okay thing.
Oh.
That's not really white power.
I can't. Please.
How many times do we have to say it? That's not what that is. Oh, man. That's a made-up, nonsensical thing that doesn't really exist. Anyway, Volkswagen removed the ad, and their board has apologized. We understand the public outrage at this because we're horrified, too. What do you mean you're horrified, too? How did you have a commercial make it to Instagram or television or anywhere without it being approved by somebody? What are you kidding? What do you mean you're horrified too? Who approved it?
Volkswagen, also a German company, right?
Yes.
With ties to Nazi Germany, am I right?
Well, yeah, they get into that. This video is an insult to all achievements of the civil rights movement. It's an insult to every decent person. This is Volkswagen saying this about their own commercial. We at Volkswagen are aware of the historical origins and the guilt of our company during the Nazi regime. That's precisely why we resolutely oppose all forms of hatred, slander, propaganda, and discrimination. That's amazing. So they even admit to the World War II Nazi stuff. Wow. Reuters pointed out Volkswagen was founded on orders by Adolf Hitler to build the people's car, and the company employed forced laborers for the Nazi war effort. So, yeah, Volkswagen little sensitive. Maybe the people are a little sensitive to Volkswagen, and you should probably avoid anything that even smacks of racism like that.
Yeah.
How did that? I'd like to know how that made it to air. How did that make it to Insta? I think it was an Instagram ad. How is it possible that somebody okayed that and said, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, put it up."
And that
Post
was
it.
in German. It just goes to show that German commercial or European commercials are terrible. I mean, that whole thing was just bad.
Yeah, really bad. Really, really bad. And really nothing about the car. The car's just sitting there. They don't say much about it, and you're just focused on the hand, and then it's over, and it says the new Golf. Wow, that didn't tell me much about that particular car.
That was not worth the budget there.
Not even close. All right. Let me tell you about Genesis 950, because this is stuff that we don't do without in our home. My wife absolutely insists that we always have a supply of Genesis 950 on hand, because we're continually cleaning up pet stains on our carpeting, or some stain that the grandkids have left by dumping like Kool-Aid on the carpet or whatever. So if you've got stains like that, and you've been thinking, well, can't get them out, so we might as well replace the carpeting. Before you do that, try Genesis 950. It's amazing at getting these stains and odors out of your carpeting. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they're gone for good. Plus, it disinfects and kills viruses. If you mix 1/3 Genesis 950, 2/3 water, spray it on the surface, wipe it clean with fresh water. And it's not just for carpeting stains either. You can clean and disinfect your whole house, bathrooms, kitchens, countertops, your granite, quartz, garage floors. It'll get the oil stains out. It's really amazing. Genesis 950, it's available on Amazon.com, but if you order a gallon direct at Genesis950.com, you'll get a free spray bottle and a discount using the offer code BLAZE. Genesis950.com. 888-933-93 and at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Shall not be infringed tweets. Pat makes a great point on the tourism subject. We were considering a Lake Michigan vacation this summer before the madness ensued, but I won't set foot in Michigan while Frau Whitmer reigns there. Frau Whitmer. I like that. Tony from Pennsylvania, New Scarborough book. I didn't have sex with my intern and killer, but if I did, this is how I do it. a little wordy, but it's a work in progress. And I think O.J. Simpson is going to write the foreword for that particular book.
Or is he the ghostwriter?
Jacob Lech. In hindsight, that sexist exercise bike would have been nice to have in this quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Peloton thing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Texas Bizzle tweets, I can't wait for our nation's top medical experts to be baffled at why so many Americans contract Indian toe fungus on their faces. And
oh, look at there.
Here's the video of why they will contract that.
Oh, God. That you not putting that on your face is what's getting you dirty looks from your fellow Americans.
Right.
Oh, gross.
Right.
I mean, look at that. Just right on the floor.
Just directly to the dirty, stinky floor.
Yeah.
People sitting around assembling them on the floor.
But, I mean, I'm sure it's a sterile environment.
But, hey, wear that thing, because that's going to protect you and others from terrible, terrible diseases.
I think whoever shot that video, I don't think that they were trying to make the point that we use it to make. Because as soon as they pan over and they see the kid on the floor, like, oh, no, child labor laws. Could you see that at the very end there? It's like a little boy on the ground making them, and they quickly pan off.
Amazing.
Wow.
We have a picture here, too, from Toothmaker 3.
Okay.
I missed the first 2 Toothmakers, so I'm not sure I'll understand
Those
this.
were probably accounts that were banned by Twitter, and they were like, all right, I'll go with number 3 now.
But they sent this in from Michigan, where they've had that unbelievable flooding from the dam break. Oh, man.
Several, man.
Look at this. Used to be a road, and now it looks like, there's the road. Now it looks like this.
Oh, no. Oh.
Look at that.
And then there's towns on the other side of this that have been on the receiving end of these floods.
And they said there might be 9 feet of water in Midland, Michigan, which is inconceivable, really.
Yeah.
Just really horrific.
Be safe, please.
All right. We can't find Fauci. We got into that a little bit. Also, the trans species person. We got to talk about this tomorrow, maybe, because we've got John Ziegler coming up in a few minutes here. John is working on something with Matt Lauer now, and apparently he's been working on it for quite some time. Lauer wrote this really lengthy piece on Mediaite, which is a website that a lot of media people frequent. And he was talking really not so much about whether or not he raped somebody, although he absolutely categorically denies that he raped anybody. And it was all consensual, he says. And apparently it was. It was just inappropriate to NBC, and that's why he got fired. Because he was doing it apparently quite a bit. Consorting in a physical way with women in the office. And apparently NBC frowned on that. And what I think is they looked the other way, and everybody knew what Matt Lauer was doing at NBC, but they didn't really care. They didn't enforce the policy of the business until it became public, and then like, oh yeah, well, that's unacceptable, that's inappropriate, and then they fire him, and so he lost his career that way. So anyway, now she's been quoted as saying that Matt Lauer raped her in Ronan Farrow's book. And so Matt Lauer takes a lot of time and a lot of investigation and sort of takes that apart, as did John Ziegler. And so we'll talk to him about that, because it looked, from the very beginning of this Lauer situation, yeah, he was probably a sleazy cad and cheating on his wife a lot. But was it sexual harassment? Doesn't seem like it.
Was it rape?
It certainly wasn't rape. And there was supposedly, again, a rape button underneath his desk. He would push a button, and it would lock people in his office. And that was just urban legend. That didn't exist. It never happened. And so, anyway, he was kind of railroaded. And so we'll get into that with John Ziegler in a few minutes. But we got to tell you about this trans person. A somewhat unique trans person, because not just transsexual, but trans species. This person.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, a trans.
Well, that's a new one.
Species.
We've needed to update the list for a while now. We got a new one now.
Mm-hmm. It's a transgender. Yeah, so not transsexual, not transgender, trans species, because she apparently identifies as a deer.
I'm sorry?
A person who identifies as a deer. And now is in charge of Twitch users' opinions and whether or not they're okay, because she can ban people on Twitch. Is it Twitch or Twitchy?
No, Twitchy is not.
Twitchy is a different thing. This is Twitch. Yeah.
Just Twitch, okay.
She says, I have power they can't take away from me. And honestly, there are some people who should be afraid of me. Wow. And they are, because I represent moderation and diversity. Really?
Was this all said by Governor Whitmer, or?
No, this is by Ferociously Steph is her Twitch name. Ferociously Steph, who identifies as a deer. And I'm going to come for harmful people. If you're a really crappy person, she puts it some other way, I'm going to stand up against you, period. And Twitch is endorsing me to do that. And again, this is the person who explains how she likes to prance around and eat grass or have deergasms because she identifies as a deer. This is the person who's going to be banning you on Twitch.
Well, at least we're back to normal now as a society.
Yeah, right.
Things are getting back to normal.
Right. So we got that going for us. Congratulations, America. The jobs report for the last week just came out. 2.4 million more jobs lost last week. 2.4 million. Jeez. Week after week after week, it's multiple millions of jobs going away. That's 38 to 39, somewhere between 38 and 39 million jobs in 9 weeks. Just unbelievable. 888-900-3393. All right, we've got John Ziegler, who joins us right now. John, welcome. John is from Mediaite. He's on Twitter at Zygmunt Freud. John is the one who really looked deeply into the Jerry Sandusky situation at Penn State and how it involved Joe Paterno, and he's got amazing things to say about that. But right now, John, you've been looking into what's been going on with Matt Lauer and this Ronan Farrow situation. Welcome.
Yeah, good to talk to you again. And this has been about a 7-month situation for me because last year when the Ronan Farrow book came out, Matt Lauer, with whom I had been acquainted because I had done 3 Today Show interviews back when he was the host of the Today Show. And by the way, they were very contentious interviews. We were not buddies, but he suddenly called me in the middle of that firestorm, and we had several conversations on the phone, and he invited me to come to his house 3,000 miles away. I live in Los Angeles. He's in New York in the Hamptons, and hear his full story. I did that for about 6 hours, and I realized that there was a completely different side of the story than the one that Ronan Farrow was telling in his book, one that made a heck of a lot more sense than the one that Ronan Farrow was telling in his book. And that really was the beginning of an extraordinary several months where Matt Lauer went from not even wanting or allowing, really, me to put Ronan Farrow's book on his kitchen table because he was so disgusted by the whole thing, to Matt Lauer going line by line, word by word through the entire book, picking it apart, investigating what the sources were or alleged sources were for all of this and all the allegations against him, specifically one of rape by a former NBC producer at the Sochi Olympics in 2014. And I was in that process, and in fact, I was the reason why Matt decided that he needed to do this investigation on his own, as opposed to taking what he had found and giving it to a mainstream news reporter, because I told him, because he asked me, I told him there's no way that anyone in the mainstream can do this story because they will wimp out, because you're dealing with Ronan Farrow. You're dealing with a sacred cow, a toxic issue, and there are no mainstream reporters anymore, sadly. They will have the brains and the guts to take this on and do it fairly. You have to do it yourself. You have to do your own reporting. You have to use your celebrity. And the plan was for this to come out much sooner than this, but obviously 2020 has been quite a year. And there were some personal considerations from Matt in this. But then the New York Times at the beginning of this week came out with their own investigation of Ronan Farrow's book that was pretty damning, not as damaging as it should have been, but it was still significant. And at that time, Matt decided, okay, this is the moment to go forward with about a 5,000-word investigation into Ronan Farrow's reporting on him. And I agree with the bottom line, which is that, one, Matt Lauer did not rape this woman. There's no evidence that he did. There's no logic that he did. But more importantly than even that, Ronan Farrow's reporting is fraudulent, and it is not. It's not even up to professional standards. Forget about the standards of someone who has been given the mantle of essentially the moral arbiter of all male and female sexual relationships in this country, and has been given enormous power to destroy lives. And that's really my great interest in this, is that Ronan Farrow should not have the power that he does. He's a fraud, and I believe Matt Lauer has proven that.
Now, the woman in question here that was allegedly raped in 2014 in Sochi, Russia, is Brooke Neville's, right? And she did not claim rape in 2014 or whenever she went to NBC Brass with this, right? It's even more suspect, in my opinion, than that, Pat. I mean, so here's what happens. This is based upon the record, not just what Matt Lauer is saying.
But they start this affair in 2014 in Sochi. It was stupid on Matt's part, incredibly stupid.
Yeah, but he did that a lot of times, right?
Right, and yeah, I mean he doesn't deny that, and he is paid exceedingly dearly for that. I would argue he's paid more for infidelity than anyone in the history of the news media. But so they start this affair. The affair continues for several months. And now we fast forward. She dates a couple other people who actually referenced in the book, but Ronan Farrow never bothers to contact, and their stories are totally different than what she claims them to be. And this is part of what is in Matt Lauer's story. But there's no mention of this publicly at all, although she brags about it to her friends, until Me Too happens. And Me Too happens several years later in 2017, and there's a moral panic. And now all the rules have changed. And now NBC is in a particularly vulnerable position because NBC is being criticized for having supposedly spiked Ronan Farrow's Harvey Weinstein investigation. So you now have NBC in this very odd position of essentially needing a scalp, needing to show how pro-Me Too they are. And in the midst of this moral panic, Brooke Nevels comes forward to NBC brass, to two female NBC lawyers with her own lawyer, and tells her story of having sex with Matt Lauer in his dressing room. Consensual, no talk of rape, no talk of anything remotely illegal, but something that's in a violation of company policy, a violation of Matt Lauer's contract. And Matt Lauer fully acknowledges it, admits to it, and he gets immediately fired over a consensual act in his own dressing room. Then Matt Lauer goes away, presumes his career is at least temporarily, if not permanently, over, and then Ronan Farrow starts writing this book. And one of the more startling things that I learned in my investigation of this is that Matt Lauer and Ronan Farrow met before the book came out. Matt Lauer had a friend who's a lawyer with him, and Matt was shocked to find out that all of a sudden Brooke Nevels, 5 years later, was now claiming that there was an act of rape, especially considering the fact that the act of rape occurred during their first encounter, allegedly, and then their affair continued for a couple of months after that. But most shockingly was that when Ronan Farrow told Matt Lauer that Brooke Nevels had come to believe that there was an act of violence against her by him, quote unquote, in hindsight. In hindsight. In other words, 5 years later, not a day later, 5 years later, and I believe critically, Pat, after she decides to write her own book, and after Ronan Farrow has had the opportunity to speak to her and convince her that what happened in Sochi somehow was actually an act of rape, when there's no evidence that that's what actually happened.
Really unbelievable. And this is all going on without any due process for Matt Lauer at all. He's just summarily destroyed and smeared, and then it's just on to the next one, and that's it. And
well, that's right. I mean, that's exactly right. Lives are destroyed. I mean, and his life has been destroyed by this. Not just his career. He's gone through it, and again, he deserves to suffer within his family for what he did.
Yeah.
But Matt Lauer, and I realize a lot of conservatives don't like him. He was very good at what he did. I mean, I've done hundreds of interviews in my career, Pat, and there's no better interviewer than Matt Lauer. I mean, he was very formidable, and I actually miss the fact that he's not there on morning television anymore, because no one can do a damn interview anymore. But more importantly than that, I can't stand when innocent people's lives are destroyed without due process, as you say. I mean, there was never a criminal charge here at all. You don't get to, and you cannot defend yourself anymore because of the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement are such where it's impossible to defend yourself. You can make an allegation in a tweet, but you cannot combat an allegation in a tweet because it takes too much time. And as Matt Lauer proved in his Mediaite piece a couple of days ago, I mean, he had to write 5,000 words to tell his side of the story. And frankly, that was cut down from what it was originally going to be. And we just don't live in that world anymore. We live in a very fast-paced world, short attention span. And if it doesn't fit in a tweet, it doesn't matter. And this is not the way a society should work. And Ronan Farrow should not be the arbiter of right and wrong here. He is an incredibly biased advocate. He is an activist on this issue. And frankly, I just find it amazing that this is his own personal profile. How did he become the moral arbiter of male-female relationships? I mean, this is a guy whose entire family, by his own acknowledgement, was destroyed by what he believes, and I believe incorrectly so, was the sexual abuse of his sister by his father, Woody Allen. I mean, not to mention that he's never been engaged in a male-female relationship because he happens to be a homosexual. So how does he have any expertise in this? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. Hang on just a second, Joe. We're talking to John Ziegler from Mediaite, and he's on Twitter as well at ZigmundFreud.com. We'll be back in 60 seconds. First, let me tell you about Omega XL. If you have pain and it's brought on by inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of so much of our pain. Back pain, neck pain, shoulder, leg, joints. It can just really be miserable. Omega XL is an all-natural treatment for this kind of pain. Omega XL goes right to the inflammation, calms that down, and relieves you of that pain. It's backed by 30 years of research. Omega XL is a powerful natural supplement that helps reduce pain due to inflammation and promotes healthy joints and increased mobility, and helps you promote a healthy immune response as well. Omega XL, it can help your natural immune system, and it can help you get out of pain. Here's a special offer to get you started with it as well. Order one bottle now, get your second bottle free, essentially 50% off right now when you call 800-844-4888. That's Omega XL at 800-844-4888 or omegaxl.com/Pat.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
We're talking with John Ziegler about the Matt Lauer situation. Matt Lauer, a guy who probably will never have another job in the broadcast industry. I don't even, hopefully he made enough money in his career to continue to, survive. But he lost his wife. He lost his family, right? He's lost his job. His career is shot. He doesn't deny the fact that, he was a bad husband. There's no doubt about that. But do you know about the other allegations too? Because I think weren't there 7 or 8 women at NBC who claimed that he had some sort of inappropriate relationship with them?
Well, actually, that was something that Ronan Farrow wrote that was completely inaccurate and written in an incredibly manipulative way. You mentioned the number 7. Yeah, there's a line in the book where Ronan Farrow makes it seem as if there were 7 women who made some sort of allegation against Matt Lauer. But what he writes is that there were 7 women who worked with Matt Lauer who made allegations against NBC. That's totally different. Those 7,
wow.
Those 7. I'm not making this up, by the way. This is in Matt Lauer's piece. Those 7 women, they also worked with Al Roker. They also worked with Bob, the cameraman. I mean, they worked with a lot of other people. But but this is the slippery way that Ronan Farrow writes about this. And here's the proof that I'm right about this, Pat, okay? Mm-hmm. So after Ronan Farrow's book comes out, and one of the things you should always look at in the media when someone doesn't really have a story nailed is when they tell you the worst is yet to come. There's more out there. There's more out there. We're seeing that, by the way, with the virus in some ways. But with regard to Farrow, he went on MSNBC and Rachel Maddow's show, and they dramatically announced that they had gotten NBC to agree to let anybody out of a non-disclosure agreement that feels like somehow their voice is being silenced. So no one is going to be silenced by NBC. If you sign an agreement with us and you want to tell your story of sexual abuse, you are free to do so. And they were very proud of themselves. Well, that was 6 months ago. And you know how many people have come forward to tell their stories about anybody, or specifically Matt Lauer? Zero. There are zero women. And I can assure you that there are lots of people in the media that would have loved to have heard this story, and that Ronan Farrow would have been the first one. There's not one person, and I predicted this, there's not one person that has come forward to say, I signed a non-disclosure agreement with NBC. Let me tell you my story about Matt Lauer. Not one, because it didn't happen, Pat.
I mean, that's absolutely astounding. And this guy, does he have? I mean, is there any hope for Lauer at getting some semblance of his career back? Have you talked to him about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked, Pat. I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, this sounds crazy, but I've probably talked to Matt Lauer in the last 7 months way more than I've spoken to my wife. She probably appreciates that, by the way. I mean, I've spoken to Matt Lauer probably over 100 hours easily, and they've been very frank conversations. I think you know me well enough to know that we're not talking about the weather, and I'm getting to the bottom of this. And he's, we've had some very, very frank conversations, and he fully understands where his career is. This is not about him being motivated to somehow salvage a career. He feels very strongly, one, that he wanted to correct the record about what really did not happen with him, because he is not a sexual abuser. But I think he also sees the really important issue here of the role of Ronan Farrow. That this is a disease. This is a dangerous man. Mm-hmm. Ronan Farrow is a very dangerous man who needs to be stopped. And he felt like he wanted to do his part because he still believes that journalism matters, that the truth ought to matter, and I think that honestly was his final motivation. Because to be clear, and I don't even know if I should be talking about this, but I mean, there were enormous family considerations in his decision making here. This was not an easy situation. He is paying a price even for telling his side of the story. So I mean, that's the context here. I think is important. Matt has nothing to gain here. I mean, zero. He's not going to get a job. He wasn't even paid by Mediaite. He's suffering, within his own circle to a certain degree, because let's face it, his family wants this to go away. I mean, they don't want this to be brought up again. Yeah. But Matt feels strongly that he wants to clear his name, and he wants people to know what a fraud Ronan Farrow really is.
A fraud, and a dangerous fraud, but also a Pulitzer Prize winner. So that makes it all the more difficult, because Farrow is so celebrated right now. I mean, I don't know what it is about this guy, but from the minute he appeared in public, he was a superstar. I mean, from the left, they loved him, and I think it was because he attacked his father all the time. I think they loved that about him, and so he came onto the scene with that kind of credibility.
Well, they love the whole profile, the whole persona.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a good-looking guy. I think it helps on the left that he happens to be gay. The Mia Farrow, Woody Allen, he's a son of celebrities, so therefore the left thinks he must inherently have value. There's the Frank Sinatra rumors, whether or not that's his father or not. I mean, none of these things, of course, have anything to do with his ability to report the truth. But that doesn't seem to matter. And once you're sanctified, and once you've taken down, Harvey Weinstein, and was even the Washington Post yesterday shocked me by doing a story on some of the things that he said about Harvey Weinstein that were not true. Even though Harvey Weinstein got convicted, not of the worst allegations, and I'm not a defender of Harvey Weinstein, there's a lot of things that Ronan Farrow reported there that didn't turn out to have any validity or weren't used in the criminal case. I mean, he's latched on to Rose McGowan as some sort of tremendous beacon of truth, and I think Rose McGowan is just nuts.
She's crazy.
She's an absolute nut job, and frankly, I don't think there's any chance in the world that her allegation would have held up in court against Harvey Weinstein, and he he's still backing her. And then that to me alone makes me think that that people should not take Ronan Farrow seriously. But he is a creation of the left. He has enormous power. I have no faith, especially you mentioned my work on the Penn State Paterno-Sandusky case. I have no faith in Pulitzer Prizes. I mean, because there was a Pulitzer Prize winner there who is even worse than Ronan Farrow. I mean, so I think that what happens here is once you get vetted by the elite, everyone then presumes that you are of value and cannot be questioned. And that's one of the most dangerous things I've seen in my entire career. When everybody else thinks someone else is doing the vetting and no one's doing the vetting. And that's what's now happened with Ronan Farrow. And to remind your listeners, I'm sure they do, but I mean, the first moment I started to realize Ronan Farrow was a dangerous man up to no good was the Brett Kavanaugh situation. I mean, people seem to forget that. He went after Brett Kavanaugh with a story that was completely absurd. And that was, to me, his jump the shark moment.
Yeah, it was the nuttiest of all the accusations. It wasn't even the Christine Blasey Ford accusation, right? It was that other person who completely...
It was, just to remind people, it was this thing that supposedly happened at Yale, right? That I am convinced, without getting into all the gory details, but I am convinced was an urban legend that got attached to Brett Kavanaugh's name after he became famous many years later. That's what I believe happened there. And Ronan Farrow reported it seriously, and it became, a significant part of the allegations against him. And that was when I started to go, okay, whoa, hold on a second. And now that I've gotten deeply into the Matt Lauer deal, I know that he is indeed, I'm not exaggerating, he's a fraud. He is not to be trusted.
Well, John, thanks for the work you're doing, because nobody wants to do this work. Nobody wants to look into sexual predators that are accused. I mean, and they may not be at all, as you have discovered several times, but it is so politically incorrect to even say any of this stuff, to even challenge the politically correct information that's been disseminated. You're not even supposed to do that. And
Pat, let me just tell you, this is hell for me. I hate this.
I believe it.
People think that I somehow enjoy, being the contrarian and telling the mainstream media that they're wrong about something. And look, not on this subject. I mean, I hate this with a passion, but no one else will do it. And now, when I find myself in a situation where I see an injustice and the truth hasn't been told and no one else has the balls to do it, I'll do it. But it is hell. It is absolute hell.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, John. Good to talk to you. John Ziegler from Mediaite. You can find him on Twitter at Zigmund Freud, at Zigmund, Zigman, Freud, Freud. There you go.
Nailed it.
Okay.
He's brave. He's a brave man.
He really is, because, again, you can't even defend yourself against these kinds of charges.
Nope.
And so somebody defending you against these kind of charges is really unpopular. But like Matt Lauer, if he says, no, I didn't do any of that, you're piled on as, how dare you? What are you calling these women liars? Well, yeah, because I didn't do it. What are you supposed to do in this day and age, in the age of Me Too? I don't know. Pretty amazing. And I'm no fan of Matt Lauer.
Right.
But because he is definitely on the other side of the political spectrum for me.
But you're a fan of the truth.
But yes. And this seemed questionable from the very beginning on all this Lauer stuff. All right. We will see you again tomorrow. Finish off the week.
Frivolous Friday, maybe?
Frivolous Friday coming up.
All right, Jeffy will be here. Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Pat Gray, only on the Blaze Radio Network.